So we've made it down to Kuala Lumpur on our journey through Malaysia. It's a beautiful city. To my left are the Petronas Towers and the KL Tower. We have a magnificent view from our apartment here. So as we've started to tour around the city a little bit, we realized that we didn't know a lot about Malaysian history or the culture here. So we decided the first thing we should probably do is visit the National Museum. So that is where we went first. The National Museum is a great place to visit if you want to learn about Malaysian history. The entry fee is 5 ringgit, which is about $1. The museum is arranged in 4 galleries on 2 floors, which trace the early history of Malaysia up through present day. There's a self-guided tour available online, but all of the exhibits include English, so we didn't actually use the tour. We started in Gallery A, which focuses on early humans, tools development, jewelry, pottery, and early trade. We were more interested in modern Malaysian history, so we made our way to Gallery B, which focuses on the Malay kingdoms. In this gallery, there are displays that provide an overview of the Malay kingdoms and sultanates that existed between the 2nd and 16th centuries. Ocean and land-based trade introduced new technologies, traditions, and beliefs that formed a hybrid Hindu-Buddhist culture. Around 1400, the Kingdom of Malacca was formed, and it was there that Islam was first introduced. By the middle of the 15th century, it had become the predominant religion, and the kingdom had become a sultanate. After visiting Gallery B, we headed upstairs to Gallery C, which traces the history of colonialism in Malaysia. Malacca had become a powerful trading hub, controlling most of the spice trade. The Portuguese sent a trade delegation to Malacca to develop a trade agreement, but the Portuguese were rejected due to their treatment of locals and Muslims in India. In 1511, Portugal sent a fleet of warships to attack and conquer Malacca. It ruled by force for the next 130 years. The Dutch later became involved, and after numerous attacks conquered Malacca in 1641 and ruled for 183 years. Then, the British became involved in the late 18th century and ended up signing a treaty with the Dutch where they occupied Malacca in exchange for other territories. The British introduced tin mining, rubber trees, and built roads and railways. In 1941, the Japanese invaded and occupied British Malay until the end of the war in 1945. And finally, we made our way to Gallery D, which focuses on Malaysian independence, education, and the history of different ethnicities in Malaysia. After the occupation of Japan, and as the British were returning, there was a rise in nationalism and a strong desire for self-determination. On August 31st, 1957, Malaya gained independence from Britain. On the 6th of September 1963, the Federation of Malaysia was formed. So the National Museum was actually really, really cool. We weren't sure what to expect, but we learned a lot about the history of Malaysia and things that we didn't really know when we arrived. So things like ethnographic groups and the history of sort of the occupation by different countries. What else did we learn? We learned about rubber trees. And that they were brought by the British
from Brazil. So this British guy went to Brazil, got all these seeds, took them to the UK or England, and then brought them here and started planting them. And we thought rubber trees were native to this area, and they're not. So it really makes me wonder, like, they got up into Thailand and different things. But we did learn a lot in the museum.
We did learn a lot. It's actually a really good place to visit if you don't know a lot about Malaysia, which we really didn't. I feel like we learned a lot more than we expected to learn, so it was really cool. And the other thing that is really great is there is a ton of English. I mean, basically everything's in
Malay and then
Malay
in English.
In English too.
Yeah.
So they've done a really good job of curating the museum and making it accessible to foreigners who speak English.
So really enjoyed it. Highly recommend you visit if you have some time while you're in Kuala Lumpur. Plus, it's nice and air conditioned inside. So
Very nicely air conditioned, and it covers a lot of things and gives you a brief idea of how the country came together and the different groups. But it makes me want to learn more about Malaysia and how things came to be. So it was good.
yeah, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to learn more. But before we do that, we're going to probably go grab some lunch. So we decided to come out to the Shake Shack that just opened up in Malaysia. This is the first one as far as we know. It's in the Exchange TRX in Kuala Lumpur, and we wanted to try the very special milkshake that they have here, the Bunga Raya milkshake. I think that translates to hibiscus. So we're going to go inside and give it a try. So I'm going to go try this seasonal Shake Shack shake exclusive to Malaysia. Very good. Although at this point it's all whipped cream. But maybe I can dip into this a little bit more. There we go. Very whipped cream and coconut heavy. I love it.
So I decided to get a concrete, and the flavors look like something that we can't get at home in the States. So I decided to give this one a try. Oh, that's a little tangy and sweet, and it's got some pineapple and some other delicious looking stuff. So I think I'm going to enjoy this.
Okay, this is the very special Shake Shack exclusive hand washing station, which is amazing. Check it out. All right, so the extra special machine is not dispensing paper towels.
The next day, we headed over to the National Mosque of Malaysia. We wanted to learn a little about the history of the mosque. We've been to quite a few mosques, and the architecture of this mosque is unlike any we have ever visited. Construction was completed in 1965, but major renovations were made in 1987. It has a capacity for 15,000 people. The top of the minaret is shaped like a closed umbrella, while the main building appears in the shape of an open umbrella. We aren't really sure why that is, but it is what it is. We really enjoyed meeting one of the docents who explained the history of Islam. We knew a little, but we definitely were interested in more information. It was such a nice conversation, and we learned a lot that day. Once we finished at the mosque, we headed over to the Islamic Arts Museum. This is a great museum with multiple floors and exhibits. We actually ended up going back a second time because we ran out of time during our first visit. There are exhibits on architecture, manuscripts, China, India, textiles, weapons and armor, and much, much more. We started in the special gallery where there was some really fascinating modern artwork. The museum is quite large and has a total of 4 floors. All of the exhibits were great, but in particular we enjoyed the China and Islam exhibit. The manuscripts exhibit, with special emphasis on science and anatomy. And my favorite, the astrolabe, which could be used for navigation, daily timekeeping, and calculating tide tables. This was a very important instrument for calculating prayer timing and the direction of Mecca. For lunch, we headed over to an air-conditioned mall and found a Taiwanese restaurant called Day One Day One. We loved this place. The choo-choo noodles were amazing. Later in the week, we headed over to Merdeka Square. Merdeka means independence in Malay. This is where independence was declared on August 31st, 1957. From the field, you can see Merdeka 118 in the background, the second tallest building in the world. It's a symbol of independence, and its shape outlines the image of Tunku Abdul Rahman when he chanted Merdeka, or independence, in 1957. During our final week, we went out to visit the Petronas Towers. There's a very nice park where you can get a great view.
We've been wanting to come to KLCC Park since we arrived in Kuala Lumpur, but it's been so oppressively hot that we've kind of avoided it. Finally, we decided today's going to be the day. It's a little bit cooler than usual, but still quite hot. So we're going to get a few pictures, take some video, and then probably head inside and get something to drink because I am really, really warm.
It was very hot during our visit, which is why you don't see too many people outside. The park was beautiful, but we quickly ducked into a mall to cool off. So one thing that really surprised us about Kuala Lumpur is how affordable it was. We are in the middle of the city, literally right near downtown, and accommodations were very, very affordable.
Very nice.
Yeah, the food was very inexpensive. Groceries were, I'd say, reasonably priced, although we did go to a more upscale place to do our grocery shopping, primarily because it was convenient and super hot outside and hard for us to go any distance walking. But we thought we'd do a really quick price breakdown for the month. So for accommodations, we have this amazing Airbnb with a view of the entire city, a really great swimming pool,
A gym.
yeah. Really, really comfortable and very, very, very nice and clean. I mean, this is one of my favorite Airbnbs that we've stayed at during our travels in Southeast Asia. 34 nights, we paid $1,304, which I think is a really great bargain. Plus, this Airbnb has a water filter, so we don't have to carry bottled water back up the flights of stairs that we have an elevator, but still carting that stuff around can be a burden. So that's just like one of those things that puts it over the top.
Yeah.
Groceries, we spent about $351. We may have kind of fumbled around some of that money with other things, but it's that budget item is about $351. We spent about $45 on mobile data. That was a little bit higher than normal, but things kind of overlapped in terms of previous month and this month, so the cost was a little bit higher. Generally, we spend about $20, $25 a month on mobile data. Local transportation, that was getting around the city. We spent $104. Now that includes $35 for costs to get us to the airport, and then $15 for a train down from from Ipoh down to Kuala Lumpur. So the majority of that $104 was really in kind of these like major transportation. The rest of the costs here were for Grabs, and they were very inexpensive, probably $1, maybe at the high mark $3-4, but generally we're probably spending $1.50, $2 to get around the city. Dining out, we spent $193. We found that we did a lot of eating in this month, but what we would do is go downstairs and get some chicken or some naan from a local place, bring that upstairs and kind of combine it with some fresh produce that we had here for dinner. And then experiences, which we kind of classify as going out to museums and doing other things like that, we spent about $10. So all told, we spent $2,007 this month, which is probably one of our better months. Yeah. We really had kind of a bargain month, and it was a great stay. So definitely consider coming back to Kuala Lumpur. If you're thinking about Malaysia specifically,
It's a very reasonably priced place to visit. The food is amazing, and the people are really friendly as well. So that wraps it up for our time here in Kuala Lumpur and Malaysia as a whole. Next up, we're heading to Indonesia for about a 45 to 50 day adventure. We hope you'll join us on that adventure.
Thanks for watching. Please give us a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one.